proud to be here with you tonight. It's been a journey for you, and I want to ask you one question. Was it worth it?
Yes.
Is it still going to be worth it when you get to home?
Oh, yes.
Have you ever seen the commercial on TV with Fannie Mae and they're in their bed and all of a sudden you hear the rain falling down and all of a sudden the wife turns over to her husband and says, "Yep, you hear the rain?" He says, "Yep." And he says, "It's rain on our roof." And that's the way it's going to be with you guys when you get your house. It's going to be raining on your roof.
That's right.
Hopefully it doesn't leak. What I wanted to come talk to you about today is I look at this, the program that you've been through is kind of like a ladder. You've got to that middle rung and you've had a few rungs that maybe got pulled out between you, that you had to go back and start over and reach for that higher rung. And now you're about midway on your rungs and you're getting really closer to that. Some people ask me, why would you want to buy a house now? And I'd say this is the best time to buy a house. Why is it the best time to buy a house? What's the interest rates right now? 3.5. You should just go out and borrow money even if you don't need it at 3.5. That's the lowest interest rate that's ever been established. Is 3. I didn't say that, did I? 3.5 interest rate is the best interest rate. I'm going to tell you. Back in 2008, when we ran our IVA program, I'm going to give you a few numbers here. You don't have to remember them, but I'm going to give them to you anyway. The average price of a first-time home buyer in our program in 2008 was $115,000. What do you think the interest rate was? 6%. That means you bought a $115,000 house and you paid a payment of your principal, interest, taxes, and insurance of $840 a month. Okay, let's flip forward to today. The average price of these homes, these $115,000 homes, no longer $115,000. How much do you think they cost now? $105,000. So $10,000 difference. You're buying the same home, right? It's just $10,000 cheaper. Bad for the people that lost their house, right? Good for the people buying their houses right now, right? What's your interest rate? What did we just say it was? Now, guess what you're paying? $628 a month. $211 in savings. If you pay the same payment that you paid, let's say it was $839.48 back in 2008, and you bought a $115,000 house. If you're paying $839.48 a month now, your house, you could buy a $152,000 house. They don't want you to do that. But you could do that. That's how much your money goes further than it did then. So this is probably the bottom of the market too. We don't think houses are going to get any lower price than it is now. We don't think interest rates will ever go lower than this. So you have the perfect time to buy a house. And I congratulate you for your timing. Plan it just right. Just a few things for folks that are starting to look for a house. I always give a few words of wisdom. I bought a few houses and I learned the hard way in a lot of things, but look for a realtor that you can trust. Don't get Uncle Joe or Cousin Lenny to sell you a house. Because you want to be able to fire your realtor. If you don't like what they're doing, then you want to be able, you can't fire Uncle Lenny and Uncle Joe, can you? So that's one of the things I always encourage you to do is when you go and you talk to a realtor. And I will tell you, one of the best realtors we've had that we've worked with for years and years and does a wonderful, wonderful job is Dee. So I'm giving my It's like endorsing a presidential candidate. Also, I encourage you, when you're buying a house, you're not just buying a house, you're buying a home and you're buying a neighborhood. Think about the neighborhood you're living in. You know, I always remember one lady, one of our first IDA classes, we would do the thing, I don't know if I did it with you, where you draw a picture of your house and we talk about the neighborhood. And I talked to this one lady and I said, what would you like to look for in a neighborhood? And she says, well, I would like to have a neighbor that I could wave at every day, but I don't have to talk to her much. I just want to be able to wave to her and go in my house. Well, you know, I think when you're looking for neighborhoods, you want a place that you feel like it's home. And it's not just your house that should be home, it should be your neighbors that are your family and your home. And they look out for you and you look out for them. I know when I lived in a neighborhood, it just used to drive me crazy. I couldn't figure out. Every morning I'd leave, someone would call me about my garage door being open. I couldn't figure it out, but they would always go close it for me. I found out later that somebody was on the same cycle as my garage door, so they were pushing theirs they were closing theirs and opening mine. So it took us a couple of months to figure that out. But those are the kind of neighbors you want, are people that are looking out for each other in a neighborhood that you feel like is home. It's a real community for you. So there's just a couple of words of wisdom for you. And I wanted to also talk to you about just, when I was young, my folks moved around a little bit here and there. We'd always move in a house. I think I've lived in 2 or 3 houses that I really remember. But I always feel like that once I've lived in that house, one was actually in North Dakota, and one was here in Winston-Salem. I go by that house, that's still my house. I don't care if I haven't been in there for 20 years, that's still my home. And it's, you know, you have those memories of growing up. You have that whole idea of this was my room. This was my playground. I still look at the basketball goal where I shot baskets years ago. And so, you know, it's not an apartment. It's your home. You own it. It's yours. And that's what you need to pass on and give to your children, is that memory of having their own bedroom, their own house, their own basketball goal, their own sandbox, and their own swing set. I'll tell you a little story about my swing set. I put my swing set up one time, and it took me 3 days to put it up. And then I found out when I was done, I still had about 20 parts. And so my wife wouldn't let anybody get on the swing set until somebody else came out and figured out where those other parts went. So you might want to call a professional. But I just wanted to share with you, you know, I've never been a country singer to my girls. I've got one in the 8th grade and one in college. And you know how you get in the car and it's always on their radio station? It's never on my radio station. Mine's talk radio. Theirs is always country. So how many people are big country fans here? Surprised. I didn't know if I could that easy. But I'm glad for it. Because I wasn't a country fan either, but now I like it. But has anybody ever heard of Miranda Lambert? Miranda. Anyway, one of the things I want, my favorite song is the song that says, what's the name of it, Rachel?
The House That Built Me.
The House That Built Me. Is that, I mean, that is, to me, that says everything about my home and my house over the years. And so, I told Rachel I'd sing it, but she said it was probably not a good idea. So I'm just going to say a few of the words. I said, I know they say you can't go home again. I just had to come back one last time. Ma'am, I know you don't know me from Adam, but these handprints on the front steps are mine. Up those stairs in the little back bedroom, is where I did my homework and I learned to play the guitar. I bet you didn't know, under that live oak, my favorite dog is buried in the yard. And so it's about, you know, somebody going back and saying, this is what built me. And I think your house builds you. It's not a house, it's a home. So I really congratulate you all, and we really look forward to you. Bianca couldn't be here tonight. She's like deathly sick. I think she's got the flu, but she really wanted to be here tonight, and she's going to be working with you to make that dream come true. And we're looking forward to sitting down and talking to you. And we really look forward to going to that closing. I can't remember when we first started the IDA program. It's really interesting because the first closing we had it in a very little room, and the attorney kept looking and kept seeing all these people come into the closing, couldn't figure out what was going on. And it was all the family members and everybody, and it was a wonderful event. And so now when we have our closings, we have like almost a big auditorium for our closing because we have so many people come. And I encourage you to bring your family members with you, your sons, your daughters, your cousins, your Uncle Joe. Don't let him be your realtor. So thank you for everything you do. And to me, we couldn't do this program without you. And we are so glad that you stepped forward, and we look forward to you being homeowners.